Monday edition of the program. I am merely Bo, the long lost, traveling Wilbury, the great Z. Look at you, you're back, baby. That one's on me.
It's good to be back, baby.
Did you get
No,
this
we're
sorted?
good. I think we're good. No, maybe not. That's okay.
Hold on, let me flip it with you. There you go. Yeah, I had to do the,
Hey, you were in
use the
here.
phone because I was in here as you guys were on vacation for 2 weeks. How you doing, Gibby? I hear your mic's on.
Can I interest you in some breaking news?
Yeah, go ahead. We're interested. We're intrigued.
Right off the get-go, training camp quarterback competition officially has a resolution. The Browns have announced their starting quarterback. Joe Flacco will start at quarterback when the Browns open the regular season at home against the Bengals on September 7th.
I want to cry. And not because Joe Flacco has been named the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, because this happened at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
On the dot. Browns Daily. Breaking news. Joe Flacco's your quarterback. Now, you heard it here. You knew it was going this direction. But here we are. Joe Flacco.
Not 3:01.
1 o'clock.
Not 3:01.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Look. I think we have done as straightforward of telling of how this has gone as you're going to find, because it's what's happened. Last week
No other show knows what's going on like we know what's going on. I mean, it's
So
just,
that's fact.
It's
Yes,
just
fact.
the way that it is.
Last week, though, we were talking and we said, look, this was probably, as we set it up all offseason, this was Kenny Pickett, unless he either really struggled or there was an injury. Well, the injury happened, and once he didn't get to Philly and able to play, that's it. It's cooked.
He was not able to participate in 11-on-11 since day 4 of training camp. And I know that time flies when you have a newborn, but let me tell you something. That was a long, long time ago.
It was.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Joe Flacco, we said it, he's been the best quarterback, obviously the most experienced. And he also has had the greatest availability the whole time. In fact, he is the only quarterback that has not missed some time. And so Joe Flacco is your starting. What a graphic.
Look at the graphic. Ready to go. Dr. J was ready.
Dr. J.
He was ready.
So, yes, he was ready. And so this is, again, not a surprise at all in his 18th season. Flacco, I know, is very excited about it. I know the team's excited about it. And that's the way that we expected this to go. And that's the way that it is. And Joe Flacco, we're hoping that he can kind of recapture that magic he had when he went 4-1 as the starter to end 2023, threw for 300 yards in every game. I like it, and especially for week 1. You know, styles make the fights. You're going to have to score to beat that Bengals team, and I think Joe Flacco is the quarterback right now that can do it. And I'd also say, we're not going to get into 2, 3, 4, what that's going to look like or anything, but we'll talk about those quarterbacks, I'm sure, very, very soon. This is stabilizing, and this is a good thing. I think, look, had Kenny Pickett gone on the way that things were looking for him, I think people would be very pleased that he was a starting quarterback. But Joe Flacco's got, number one, experience. He's got cachet in this city.
Oh, baby.
Out the wazoo.
Yep.
And so Joe Flacco, I think, being named the starter, let's go. It's full speed ahead now. We're missing just one thing, obviously, Judkins when he's back, and then this team it feels like you're really ready to get going. And then this will be the dress rehearsal, and we've seen dress rehearsals in various forms from Stefanski in his time here. Sometimes it's a real dress rehearsal, sometimes it's limited people, but I think we're going to see a dress rehearsal this weekend, and Joe Flacco will be ready to roll. He looks great throwing the football.
So good.
And I think we're going to be able to see, what do we go back to it? This offense for this team to be successful, elite defense, and I think going to be carried by that defensive line. The running game, and I just mentioned, Quinshawn, and hopefully with a resolution to his legal matters, that means he will be back sooner rather than later. But Jerome Ford has looked good. Dylan Sampson has looked good. Pierre Strong showed that, Pierre Strong of old, little 54-yard bounce to the outside, a little bit of juice there.
Yeah.
And then you've got to be able to hit big plays when they are available to you, and that really is the modus operandi. That's what MO stands for, those of you who did not know that. The MO of Joe Flacco his entire career, and certainly in his time with the Cleveland Browns. And so I think this is good. It was the only outcome, because the reality of it was, you can say all you want, and at times it was billed as a 4-quarterback competition, but Shedeur never got a first-team rep, so not in the competition. And the reality is, when you start Cincy at Baltimore, Green Bay at Detroit, Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Six teams who last year were a combined 40 games over 500.
That's right.
40 games over 500 they were last year combined. You weren't starting a rookie.
No.
It's too much.
No, it's
and
too
so, especially now if it was the number 2 pick, that's a different story. This is a 3rd round and a 5th round rookie.
Yeah, and you could start a rookie if they were in competition with one other player to be the starter from the start of camp.
Right.
We had 4 people. We had 2 rookie. We had Shedeur, to your point, who got no reps in the 11-on-11 because he was on a little bit of a different path. And even Dillon's were enhanced once the injury to Pickett happened.
Yes.
But it just wasn't something that was going to be there right away. Where like if you had a month to get a rookie ready, you could do that. But that's not what we were doing here. And so this was one of those things where Flacco wins the job. He's been the best. He's been the healthiest, as you mentioned. He's just a pro. I remember when he showed up here 2 years ago, and he was in with us, and we did like 20 easy breezy minutes with him. And when he left, you and I were talking, and we said this on air too. I said, well, that's a franchise quarterback. That's what it feels like. Like he's a 40-year-old man at this point, but in terms of like, oh, that's what it's like when you have a guy who's got the answers to the test. So he has all that. I also think in a roster that is really in the middle of a transition phase where you have these these handful of players that are stars, established veterans, but you also have this what is now a huge rookie class
That all
got huge now.
looks ready
looks
to
really
compete.
good, and now you have a pros pro at the
Yep.
top.
Yep.
Who, by the way, is beloved by the fan base. All of those things. You now got something that makes a lot of sense to me. I get all of it. I think this was by the time when Kenny missed the 11-on-11s in Pittsburgh, and actually just before that, when Joe mentioned in Carolina, when Joe Thomas mentioned on the broadcast, though, while you were doing the radio with Andrew, he mentioned on the broadcast that the injury to Kenny was more severe than maybe we realized. Once that became public, then you said, okay, if Kenny doesn't get 11-on-11 work against Philly, then it's cooked.
Well, that was really when this show's mood, or not mood, but take on the direction changed as well, because when we were in Carolina, it became very clear that is not going to be, that he is not going to be ready.
No.
And he's not going to be able to get back into the competition, and thus it is going to be Joe Flacco. And not by default. Joe Flacco's been the best quarterback here.
Yeah.
So he certainly has earned it, and I think that is it's an exciting thing, and I think this is the scenario that I think if you would have asked most fans back in April coming out of the draft who they wanted to be the week 1 starter, it would have been Joe Flacco, and that's what it's going to get. Now, obviously, there is another layer to this that has emerged with Shedeur, and I think that once he is ready, he will get some opportunities this year. I think Dillon certainly has acquitted himself well enough to get some opportunities this year. And I just want to say, this is just from me talking. You guys can feel free to disagree or not. But I have never, in my time doing this job, gotten more attacked personally for a post-game recap than the one I did about last week's game, in which it is a fact that Dillon Gabriel completed 72% of his passes. It is a fact that he operated the offense well. It's also a fact there were 2 turnovers that need to be cleaned up. Now, the pass, should he have thrown it? No, but the reason that it happened was certainly not his fault, and they're going to be both the tight end and the receiver involved in that play did not execute their jobs. He needs to dirt that, no doubt. So ultimately he holds the ball. That's sort of his responsibility. And then, the handoff, he didn't get to the mark. It appeared anyway. So those are things that need to be cleaned up. But in terms of watching somebody operate with poise, incredible accuracy, his ball placement on the out to Jamari Thrash, for example, anywhere else is picked or incomplete.
Yep.
He did everything you want. Guy goes 5 for 5 on his first 5 third downs in the NFL, 4 of them passes. Mm-hmm. Calm, cool, collect. Like, you watch it and you should say, yeah, this dude can operate this offense, no doubt.
There's no
in
doubt.
rhythm,
Yeah.
quick, all of that. It's a good thing, Browns fans, that both of these rookies looked good.
Yeah.
Well, it's not out there in the world. It's not at all.
Oh, really? So
I was attacked for the fact that I commented positively on Dillon Gabriel means to some that I hate Shedeur Sanders. I don't know the people who are saying that. If you've ever watched the show, you've ever listened to it. I wanted Shedeur Sanders at 2. In the first round.
We did the video breakdown of him in February.
Okay. I wanted
him.
him Friday night, I'm having dinner with Greg Cosell. All he talks about is how much I love Shedeur. So
That's right.
I don't know that there was a bigger fan of Shedeur Sanders in this building, to be quite honest with you, than me. It can be both true, and they're both Browns, so we should be rooting for them both to be good, that both showed the things that you liked about them in college. Shedeur, the poise, the ball placement, the calm in the pocket, the ability to layer his throws. All of those things, we saw it. Throws for 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. He was sensational. And then from Dylan Gabriel, it's operate an offense. It's put your team in position to succeed. Led 3 scoring drives. He threw for 143 yards in the first half. We had basically 200 yards of offense in the first half.
Yeah.
Like 300 yards passing, 286 yards passing, 400 yards of offense. That's good. That's good. The turnovers, obviously bad. Everybody knows that. First start, but if you looked at it and said, were there the things that we saw on tape with both of these guys that made us want to make them Cleveland Browns? You betcha. And that is encouraging, and that's good. And it's not one at the expense of the other. They're going to compete. They're going to compete. And at some point, I would imagine at some point probably this year, both of them will get opportunities in real games that matter and count. But if you wanted to come in this and be like, you know what? And again, we're talking about 3rd and 5th round quarterbacks. 3rd and 5th round quarterbacks. Do you know how many quarterbacks are starting in the NFL off the top of your head that were not drafted in the first round?
You know what? We did this summer.
That was just top 12 offenses. And
No. But we did this.
Jalen Hurts. Oh, yeah.
We did this too, where I went through and did where they were drafted. I don't know the number for sure, but I would say, is it 5? 5 who weren't first rounders?
That's right.
Yeah, I knew it was
So
a
it's-
small number.
it's
I
Brock
thought I would
Purdy.
have said like 70-some% were first rounders.
So even higher than that.
Higher than that, yeah.
It's Brock Purdy in the 7th round. It's Dak Prescott in the 4th round. It's Russell Wilson in the 3rd round.
Yep.
What's up? We're back, baby. It's
By the way, he could be supplanted by Dart. Yeah.
yes,
Who's
it's
first?
It's Jalen Hurts, who was the reigning
Second.
Super Bowl champion in the 2nd round, and Geno Smith was a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the whole list.
That's the list
Yeah.
in the National Football League. So when you draft a guy in the 3rd round or the 5th round, you're not necessarily drafting them to be your savior. Now, the funny thing for all these people coming at me is that I've said all along, I think Shedeur is the one who has the ceiling.
What did they come at you for?
For liking Gabriel means that I hate Shedeur, which is absurd.
How do we get to a point in the world
Because
where
we are a tribalistic society.
we're
now.
idiots?
We're
Like
tribalistic.
the idea that you can't see the greater good and that you can like both of them, and that you should be, from a Browns fan perspective, you should be almost indifferent to which one. Who cares from your perspective? You just want a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
Who cares which one it is? Doesn't matter. The idea that Shedeur looked the way that he looked, which was so
great.
natural.
Go listen
and
to
great.
my reaction to that.
I mean, and go listen to our show from that
Yes.
Monday when we talked about all of those things. We're peacocking around. But it's also can be very true, and it is, that Gabriel, I thought he was exceptional. I thought the interception, yes, inevitably it's on him. Those two have no business being in the vicinity of each other the way that they
one
were
got
on that.
pushed down, kind of quit their route, and
Deontay
pushed
got
down,
pushed
and
down.
then Blake kind of got pushed up.
Right, but he should have dirted it fine.
yeah.
But in terms of somebody who, you want to talk about like calm, pre-snap, post, in and out of huddle, his accuracy, he reminded me a lot of Bake. In terms of how Baker came out, like really quick out of his hand, a lot bigger arm than I think people give him credit for. The throw he made, was it to Thrash on the sideline?
Yeah, on the out. That was like,
It was just,
like,
I mean, that is a seed,
And that's
to
a
put it in there. That's
serious throw.
It's a big time throw.
The
And he
dig to
put it out
Caden
there.
Davis.
Yeah,
after the OPI.
I thought he was great. And the idea that anybody would have a problem with from the there aren't no camps. You're all Browns camp.
Well, you should be.
There's not a Shedeur camp. There's not a Dylan camp. Like, hopefully one of them is.
Hopefully
is,
both are great. It'd
Be
be
great if
amazing.
they both were. Then you get a draft asset out of it.
Yeah.
But like, we want them both to be great. Hopefully they're both great. And I thought they both were exceptional in their own ways.
Yes.
And I think when you watch the two games, it makes sense they are where they are in the depth chart too.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
it all makes sense.
Absolutely. And Dylan reminds me, and I know it's because he's a lefty and it's an easy thing to do, but, Dylan reminds me of Tua in how he's going to win. It's being rhythm, his anticipatory throwing.
Yeah.
You certainly saw it there, is very good. And he is, whereas I think out of structure and the ability to make real splash plays, that's really something that Shedeur is very good. Now, I think he's very good in structure as well because of his accuracy, but I'm talking about in the rhythm of the offense. Like the reason Brock Purdy has been so successful in San Francisco is because he is able to operate in tune with what it is that Kyle Shanahan wants him to do.
Yeah.
Kyle makes it very simple. This happens, the ball goes here. That happens, the ball goes there. Brock Purdy's able to digest that quickly and then deliver the football accurately. That's what Dylan Gabriel is going to be. Dylan Gabriel, if he is going to ever ascend to that level in the National Football League, that is how he is going to do it. He is going to operate the offense very, very well in the confines of the offense, the way that like a guy, Kirk Cousins, has been so successful in this league for so long. That's his path. But what I think you see there, and again, I go back to it, this is a third-round draft pick who is drafted as their lottery tickets. When 5 of the 32 starters in the league are drafted outside the first round, a quarterback taken outside the first round, your hoping is this is a long-term backup, and this is somebody that if we need him to steward us for 4 or 6 games can do it. And anything above that is absolute gravy, is icing on the cake. And so I think people are looking at that and through that lens of that it is some major, and look, everybody's going to do it. It's clicks to say the comment he made was about Shedeur.
Did it.
It wasn't about Shedeur.
That was the NFL's own social. What are we doing?
Because they just care about clicks, dude. I mean, it's just the
I know
society
we do, but
live in.
Good Lord, you're the league. Like, this wasn't some outpost.
No,
it was the
Adam
league
Schefter.
social
Adam Schefter did it
without
and NFL.com.
context.
Yes, no context. The whole
Like,
question,
come on.
any of it. And I know that there are local who had a better debut. Honestly, what those 2 debuts did for me was confirm that the Browns selected quarterbacks that have a chance. And that should be really encouraging. And they both showed the things that you liked about them on tape. Both of them.
Yeah.
And that's really encouraging to me. By the way, and Gabriel, yes, the pick, bad. Understood. Can't throw it, learn from it. That's great. But he moved them into Philadelphia territory every time.
What did you say he was on third down?
He started off 5 for 5.
Yeah.
His first 5 for 5. He was 5 for 5 on his first 5 third downs.
Yeah, I thought he was throwing darts, and I thought both of them showed. I thought both of them played better than people thought that they were going to play, for sure.
Yes.
And they both appeared incredibly prepared for the moment. Neither one of them was the moment too big. I thought they both looked like they were in total control of their circumstances. And I think you saw the pluses with both. I thought you saw like both of those 2 guys put their best foot forward to show you what they're capable of.
Yeah. How they operate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would say you should feel very comfortable as well watching that with the coaching that they're getting from Stefanski, Reese, and Musgrave, because their footwork was all excellent.
Yeah.
Their eyes and their feet were moving together. The decision-making was good. The process was good. The operation was good for both of them. So I think those are, as I said, very encouraging things on both fronts right there. And that tells you about the coaching that they're receiving, tells you about the work that they're both putting in. It tells you about the talent that they both have when they let the ball rip. So I thought it was a really, really positive 2 weeks in terms of those young quarterbacks. And I think that is very encouraging for the Browns. Here's the other thing. The Browns' D is really good. We didn't give up 100 yards in that game, and I know it's 2s and 3s. We give up 100 yards.
Yeah.
The depth of our defense, it's not a surprise to me that our quarterbacks have looked better against other people than they have against the Browns.
No, that all of those pieces matter. I want to go back to the quarterback thing with you in a second. It's obviously a monumental day. You got Joe Flacco named the starter. You've now seen both rookies play a game. Of no fault of his own, Kenny Pickett hasn't done anything since, what did you say, the 4th day of camp was the last day that he did 11 on 11. Like, he's thrown, but he hasn't done 11 on 11, hasn't done team since then. That was the day that Bernie interviewed him post-game, and that's how long ago that was on that Saturday.
And when I
say
say day 4,
Saturday of camp.
It's like the first real kind of practice.
Yeah, he hasn't since then. What I'm curious about is, because with the addition of Isaiah Bond, who we're going to talk about in a second, and you and I did the 53 at the end of last week, and it was like, wow, this starts to be some tough decisions here in terms of where this is going to go. I think the question for Kevin, and again, of no fault of his own, is, do you need to carry 4 quarterbacks?
Yep.
To me, that's the next thing. Now that Flacco's the starter, are you comfortable enough in Gabriel and Shedeur, because you're not cutting either one of them, are you comfortable in either one of them that Kenny becomes maybe a trade chip going forward. That's just common sense from my perspective. I think that is kind of the next thing to watch because we've always said Kenny roll 4, but Kenny's been hurt, hasn't practiced 11s in a long time, again, of no fault of his own.
Yep.
Now, does that change the way they view that quarterback room here in the next week or so?
Then you have to wonder, and you would have to think on some level that maybe the answer to that is yes. That, this is a team that had no problem trading Josh Dobbs and rolling with DTR. And now you got 2 of these guys. You've got Dillon and Shador, who both look more than up to the task of being the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, and it's nothing against Kenny Pickett at all. It's just the reality of where we are is that at some point this year, the only guys in-house that can be a solution, because we talked about the nuance with Kenny and that if you really did play well, and being that he was up for a contract year, the money might become difficult. And so the best case scenario then is you get a comp pick for him somewhere else. Well, there's Dillon or Shador can change the trajectory of this franchise.
Yes.
So seeing them, if you're starting Joe Flacco, seeing them is probably more important over the course of the season than it ever would be to see Kenny Pickett.
Absolutely.
Through no fault of his own.
No, and
a great
keep,
kid. And
we keep reiterating that, and I feel like we have to do that
for
in today's day and age because otherwise things will get clipped.
Yeah.
And you'll get like a
Doesn't matter,
6-second
they can clip
clip
it
of
anyway,
saying
doesn't
it,
matter.
and it's like, no, you got to say this with the abundance of context. But the reality is that if you are now, for the next couple of weeks leading into the opener against Cincinnati is every rep that his first team goes to Joe to get him ready to go. You got to get him on the same page with Isaiah Bond. We'll get to him in a second, but he's clearly making the team and is going to be in the 53. Quinshon Judkins is going to be in here, I would assume, at some point relatively soon. He's going to get in the mix. You need Joe on the same page with all of those guys in the next 3 weeks. That's really what the job is. But then beyond that, those other first-team reps, those second-team reps, the backup reps, does it make sense to give those to someone who really doesn't have a long-term future here? That'll be the question or it's very difficult to imagine a long-term future because there's no real path for starter here. So yeah, I think all of those things are a question. And this roster, we did it, I think on Friday's show, kind of went through where we thought the 53 would be. Now that we have all of these data points, and at the time we did it, the Bond thing hadn't happened yet.
Yep.
So now he's in the mix. So now that if you're gonna take him into that room, he's going into that room. Are you taking somebody out, or do you take it from another room? And that's where this quarterback conversation come from.
Yeah. And I think that, when you try to go through and the things that are going to need to be done, like, listen, the fact is, why don't we just say it real quick? So the Browns did sign Isaiah Bond today.
Officially, yeah.
Officially, he is signed. So he is an undrafted free agent. So that is a 3-year contract, but then the Browns would have his rights basically as a restricted free agent to the 4th year and beyond. So, yes, Isaiah Bond has been signed. Here's what Andrew Barry said about it, and I think this is important context because it tells you just how thorough they were. Quote, "We spent much of the last calendar year getting to know Isaiah as a player and professional, much of the last 4 months getting a full understanding of his legal situation. On the legal side, we have done extensive research that includes but is not limited to hearing from both sides of the case and receiving the results of an independently administered polygraph test." Okay? Mm-hmm. Before the allegations, we also spent a great deal of time with Isaiah during the draft process on campus, at the combine, at our facilities. His time at Alabama with Tommy Rees also weighed heavily on our assessment of his ability to operate successfully in a professional environment if brought into our organization. Let's not forget that. Tommy Rees was his offensive coordinator at Alabama. Mm-hmm. It is these touch points and more that gave us necessary insights to make this decision. With his legal matter resolved through a no bill by a grand jury, Isaiah is focused on learning from this experience while moving forward with his life and his career. He's going to be on the 53. Mm-hmm. So that means you've got, I think, 5.
Real quick,
Yep.
just some context on him, the player, for the folks of us who aren't big college football fans. He's a top 50 player in the country coming out of high school. He signs with Alabama. He transferred out of Alabama when Nick Saban retires.
Yep.
He was one of the most coveted, along with, Caleb Downs was the most, but he was right underneath him. Seth McLaughlin, several monster pieces on those Alabama teams transferred out. He transferred to Texas last year and was one of the more coveted guys. He is a dude. He flies, ran 4.39 at the combine. He's a big-time playmaker in a lot of different ways and would have been a day 2, 3 pick. He'd have been eligible. Would have been the
Day 2.
Not day 3, second or third round pick at worst.
Probably second round.
So essentially you got a top 50, top 75 player.
Going into the season, he was a lot of people's first receiver projected out.
He was a stud. He was a stud. Electric.
So now you add that to you basically add another second round pick to your class here in Isaiah Bond, but he's going to make it. And so at receiver, that feels to me like you've got 5 locks now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because you've got Judy, you've got Tillman, you've got Jamari Thrash, who I think has been very good. You've got Isaiah Bond, and then I know some people don't believe it, but DeAndre Carter is going to be on this team.
I think those 5 are locks.
I think locks.
And then it's just a matter of if it's a 6, is it Deontay or somebody else, but then if it's 6, where does that come from another room?
And listen, Gage Larvidan has done everything you could possibly ask of him. I think that Gage Larvidan has a chance to be that 6th guy. I also think Gage Larvidan will be in this program. I think that's the goal, and I think that next year he could be in that DeAndre Carter role. Now there could be a surprise. They could say we've seen enough from him, but from my understanding of things, like DeAndre Carter has been kept under bubble wrap because we have wanted this returner for so long.
Yeah.
And I know that he's been sensational. Bubba Ventrone has raved about him, but we haven't gotten that guy to the season yet.
Yeah.
Jakeem Grant, we've tried
so many guys.
It's like whoever we get, injured. So they're very high on him. So I think that he'll be there. So if you all of a sudden are now you're at 5 receivers, maybe 6. If you're down at 3 quarterbacks, then you have some more possibilities there, whether that be an extra offensive lineman, because quite frankly, Jackson Barton's been really good for you. And there's a world where you might want to keep 10 offensive linemen on your initial 53. So that quarterback position can allow you to do that going forward, and I think that's something certainly that the Browns are going to be paying attention to.
Yeah, it opens up a lot. Look, there's a lot to unwrap here, and we haven't spent that much time on things other than Dylan in the game. But the news of the day, Joe Flacco, your starting quarterback for your Cleveland Browns. You have now had both of your rookies play very, very well in preseason games. Shedeur first, and then Dylan over the weekend I thought he was great. And then you have it now being official with Isaiah Bond that he is a Cleveland Brown.
Yeah, I mean, this rookie class has got a chance to really be really transcendent and really turn this thing around, because it looks like Harold Fannin is going to give you everything you wanted out of a 3rd-round pick and more. One thing that I should note, per Adam Schefter, these are the reported contract details. 3 years, $3.018 million fully guaranteed. So Isaiah Bond will be on the 53-man roster. That's a fact.
That's fact. Yeah.
Pelissero says the contract is basically what a player between the end of round 2 and beginning of round 3 would make. So
right. Yep.
So that's where that's at. So that he has a chance, folks. Like, if he is what he is capable of being, he has a chance at some point to be your number 2.
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm trying to think of a comp for him.
So Lance Zierlein says Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
And I've read a lot and talked to some people who think he's going to be much more successful in the National Football League than he was in college, just because.
I like Waddle.
Yeah, that's about fast.
Right. Yeah.
Good route runner.
He's twitchy, though, too. Like, he's start-stop.
Get the ball in his hands.
Yeah, like Texas did a lot of stuff where they'd throw it behind the line, and he's a really good, once he has the ball, he's a very natural runner. He's not just a straight line guy, like he makes guys miss and stuff. So that's a big one. And then, we've operated this whole training camp, this whole preseason without Quinshon Judkins, and we believe that when he's here and when he's ready to go, he's the best running back in this draft. So that's going to happen as well, where he jumps into this thing, So with exception to Genty, who I think everyone had thought was probably the best of the bunch, but he's coming in this mix in a good fit. So all of a sudden there's a massive talent influx that's happened here because of what we've seen from the 2 quarterbacks now on the field and what we have with Bond and hopefully Judkins coming along pretty soon. So that's where you stand on that. And you're right, this rookie class is, like, if you would have went back and read this all out to us at the Combine, this is what you're going to end up with, you would have said, where, Madden?
Impossible. That's what I said, impossible.
What are you talking about?
Impossible.
Yeah, not at all.
We got 2 of the people that were projected to be picked in the top 5 while we were at the Combine, plus a 1st-round pick, plus a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
And then
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we needed that.
Had to have it.
We needed that.
Had to. Yep. Had to have it. Here is your schedule of the week for your Browns. Today, no practice, no meetings and lifting only today. Tuesday is a Wednesday, and what is a Wednesday of practice week? So you're going to practice around 1:45 on Tuesday. Wednesday, you're going to practice around 1:45. Thursday will be your walkthrough. That's your 12:15 practice on Thursday. Friday, you'll do the walkthrough, and then again Saturday, 1:00. Our only preseason game here at home. It is this Saturday, and as preseason games go, pretty good. You're probably going to get to see both rookies, quarterbacks. You're going to see Joe. If Isaiah Bond can get up to speed quick enough, you could see him. I mean, this. As preseason games go, that's a pretty good one at 1:00 against the Rammies.
Yeah.
Pretty intriguing.
Yeah. You're not going to see anybody from the Rams.
Did you see what McVay did over the weekend? I don't know if you saw
Stetson Bennett. The whole.
See how many times he threw?
A decent amount, no?
40.
Yeah. I love it.
Sean McVay does not give two blanks about the preseason.
No.
We're throwing it every time.
By the way, Stetson Bennett made some nice throws in that game.
Yeah, he did. He was like 27 of 42 or something like that.
So Siciliano was telling us
He threw a couple of ropes.
So he prior to him working for us, he was the TV preseason play-by-play guy for the Rams.
Yeah.
He said, do not be surprised if the Rams today or tomorrow sign a running back off the street and for the final preseason game run him 25 to 30 times.
Yeah.
They'll do the opposite of what they did over the weekend. He goes, the first teamers probably won't even fly to Cleveland.
And that's
he won't even take them on the trip. Stay home.
How can we have a league where there's that much of a gap in thought of what to do with these preseason games? That a guy who won a Super Bowl does not care at all.
No.
Meantime, some folks who feel like Super Bowl contenders are playing their veterans and giving them multiple series. Joe Burrow's going to play several series tonight, which is crazy to me. I don't need to see Burrow do anything about Cincinnati, and they're going to have him doing it.
Yep.
So it's just such a wide gulf of how to handle these preseason games. But that Rams thing, it's like,
don't be surprised. Like, their whole intent will be to get out of here as quickly as they got in.
yeah. Yeah.
Get in, get out, and let's go on. Let's go to week one.
And our plan will be, all along it's usually been that usually we do a little dress rehearsal with our vets is kind of the way that it goes. But, like, is that everybody? Do you need to see Miles and Joel and Wyatt? I would say no. Right?
No, but if you're going to put Flacco out there,
you got to have that line.
You got to have that line out there. Now, Tevin Jenkins was excellent. I mean, you could put Tevin Jenkins in for Joel at left guard and say, okay, this guy started a lot of second-round pick. Like, feel okay about what we saw there. But, yeah, you're going to have at least a good chunk of those guys. I don't need to see Miles or Denzel. I think Miles or Denzel are so critical to what we're doing.
I mean, Saturday, you saw DeJuan into the second quarter, end of the first.
Right.
I mean,
DeJuan needs some work, and DeJuan had a couple misses in that game, and then once he got locked in, we had some real good pockets.
Yeah.
But that's good. These guys and DeJuan missed. DeJuan missed the last 7 games last year. Missed the last 6. These are super established veterans. These are young players still on their rookie deals who have missed time with injury that you want to get them some reps.
Yeah. All right, you're going to hear from Dylan Gabriel after his performance on Saturday. Still a lot to unpack from that preseason game number 2 as well. It is a big, newsy day here. Joe Flacco, the starting quarterback of your Cleveland Browns. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Celebrate 40 years of the Dog Pound. The Cleveland Browns and Bud Light want to know, are you the ultimate Browns fan? Submit your entry now at clevelandbrowns.com/Bud Light. Tell us why you deserve the title. Don't wait. Entries close on August 21st. Dylan Gabriel's first game as a starting quarterback in the National Football League happened in preseason game number 2. When we last did a show on Friday, we were hopeful that we would see him, but we weren't sure if we would see him or not. He ended up playing. He played very, very well. Go ahead, Dr. Z.
And thank goodness, right? I mean, like,
oh, dude.
What would that game have been? I mean, even from just an organizational standpoint, there would have been very little evaluation that you could have gotten out of there, and something that is critically important at that position. No disrespect to Snoop Huntley, who was, again, solid when he came out there, and hopefully he lands an opportunity soon. But man, that was so huge that he was playing, and it brought some juice to the game, and obviously he did a nice job. And again, under a lot of pressure. I give both of these guys credit. Shedeur Sanders was under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It was the most watched game on NFL Network in a preseason in a decade. And everybody was watching, and you know that there is, just as there are people who are so firmly in his corner for a variety of reasons, there are people that are not wanting to see him be successful for a variety of reasons, which are garbage. There was a lot of pressure on Dylan Gabriel, because the same is true. There are people that wanted to see him succeed, but there are also a lot of people who didn't want to see Dylan Gabriel succeed in that game.
Yeah, I hope those weren't Browns fans. I don't understand. I know that there were, but I just think that that's awful.
It's the awful. Dude. It's the world.
Both sides of it. It's just ridiculous.
It's the world.
Be better. I agree with you. I think he was under. I honestly think he was under significantly more pressure than Shedeur was in Week 1. Shedeur Week 1 was like house money.
Yep.
Like, I get a chance here, right? Really? And he lived up to it and was great and lived up to all of it. All of the natural things that you and I saw on tape going all the way back to the combine, the evaluation, all of it. So much of what he was in college, just a very natural thrower of the football. Gabriel's pressure was trying to get back healthy from a hamstring. It's yours if you want it, but if you don't get it, that you might not get another shot in the preseason to start a game. Probably wouldn't. And then coming off of what the guy drafted behind you did in the opener, man, that's just compounds. And he was great. He was really great. Yeah, I thought he was very poised, very business approach in everything he did, and certainly capable of operating this offense against ones, against anybody. Available postgame had this to say about what he was taking away from the performance.
For me, I think just continue to learn from maybe some things that, can't happen, like turnovers. But I think other than that, there was flashes of being very consistent and clean as an offense. And I think as long as we consistently, work at that and try to put more of those kind of drives together, you see our defense playing really well and just putting our each other in better positions.
The entertainer competitor comment, which he said during the game with Aditi on the television version, he then discussed that post game just to make sure it was abundantly clear. Here is that comment.
All you in this room are entertainers, and you have a job to do, and I respect it, right? And I'm a competitor, so I have a job to do as well. And I think, just understanding that, that's how I've lived by, and I've said that multiple times. So definitely not a new quote, but something that I've definitely said before.
This goes back to this goes with him. This goes back to, I want to say, his time at Oklahoma is the first time he said that. He definitely said it at Oregon last year, but I think that comment goes all the way, that entertainer competitor thing, I think that goes all the way back to his time at Oklahoma, where he said that.
And didn't the coach of Oregon say that?
The coach of Oregon said it,
but
Dan
while
Lanning
he was
said it, but he was at Oklahoma.
He was not at Oregon then.
No, it was
Correct.
2 years ago when they played Colorado.
Yeah.
But it was Dylan was not at Oregon.
Right.
It was Bo Nix.
Exactly.
At that time at Oregon. All right, so here is what he was thinking on the pick six.
I look back and definitely want to just throw it away. Don't force anything, on a keeper, and felt like, there's just miscommunication on my part and something that we got to clean up. But I will, and we'll make sure of that.
Here he is on his competitive nature and how he's always going to sling it.
I think the response is everything. In many cases, there's, maybe mistakes on display or maybe plays that, you want back. But for the most part, there's got to be that continuous response, and competitive nature to continue to go out there and compete, and I'm a gunslinger. I'm going to continue to sling it, and be aggressive that way.
Yeah, I thought he was really good, really accurate, all of those things. Both the rookies look good. Speaking of rookies, Adam Schefter in the last couple of minutes, though Cleveland's second-round pick Quinshon Judkins will not face any charges, he and the Browns have still been unable to reach a deal and may not until the end of an NFL investigation.
So what's curious about that, and what this hang-up is going to be about, clearly, is how much of his contract is guaranteed.
Yep.
Because the players picked right before him and the player picked right after him have fully guaranteed contracts.
Yep.
And my guess is that the Browns, given what's happened, are not prepared to offer him a fully guaranteed contract, because if they were, he would be here.
Yeah.
Now, that also is interesting, juxtaposed to what we read earlier. Again, these are reports. I don't know this to be true. But Adam Schefter said that Isaiah Bond signed a 3-year, fully guaranteed contract with the Cleveland Browns. Those are just facts. It feels like that's got to be the only hang-up there. So I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah.
And it says they may not be able to reach a deal until the end of any NFL investigation. Now, if I'm Quinshon Judkins, I know you want the guaranteed contract, but I think it's important to get in here, and it's important to play. Now, I
think it's critical to get in here and play.
And if you hold up your end of the bargain,
don't worry about it. Nothing to worry about.
It's going to be guaranteed.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Because you're on a rookie deal.
Handle your business.
Handle your business. You'll be here.
You'll be here. They'll take care of you.
Yes.
That's what the organization does.
So, again, I don't know how much or how little, how big of the discrepancy off of fully guaranteed it is. But I hope that they're able to work that out, because I think it's very important. Now, you wonder, with Amani Marshall playing so well, do the Browns say, we'll roll with Ford and Sampson, then Marshall will be our big back? It kind of makes sense, because it doesn't make sense if Quinshon's not here. It does not make sense to have Ford, Sampson, and Pierre Strong. They're the same guy.
No.
Stylistically.
Yep.
So Amani Marshall, I think, would certainly be, he's impressed them, would be, enough, I think, perhaps in that role. Now, he was out there the whole time with Dillon. He got the touchdown. He had a couple nice blitz pickups again. But if I'm Quinshon, really, I think, just as I'm a Browns fan, first of all, I want this resolved quickly. Yep. But I do think that if you know that you're going to go and you're going to, that was out of character, or that's not going to happen, you're going to do what you need to do, you're going to be here for 4 years, you're going to be very productive, and that contract will, in essence, be guaranteed.
Yep. Yep. I would concur, sir. All right. Coming up next, Coach from Sunday, breaking down the win in Philly, his thoughts on his quarterback, among other things. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Find your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. We're going to get to Coach here in just a little bit. A couple other things, too, that jumped out in preseason game number 2. We spent a lot of time on Gabriel and his play. Who else did you think had a nice Saturday in Philly?
A lot of people, honestly, and it really is on that defensive side of the football is where I'm going to start. Actually, I'll go offense first. We can do both. All right. Offensively, guys that I really liked in that game. I continue to be very impressed with Luke Whippler, and I think that when he has to become the starting center for the Cleveland Browns, the Browns will be in very good hands with him. Also staying along that line, I thought Tevin Jenkins was excellent in this game. In his 38 snaps, he played very, very well. In fact, did not allow a pressure in his pass blocking snaps. I thought that was a great bounce back. He was a little shaky in the first one. Great to see him play well there. Jamari Thrash continues to impress me and look like he's ready to be an NFL receiver and contribute to this football team. Gage Larvadan, same thing. Looks like an NFL receiver to me. Would have no problem if he ends up making the 53-man roster. I certainly could see that. I also thought Amani Marshall continues to show me enough that in the event that we're talking about here, that this impasse lasts a little bit longer than it should, or than we'd all like it to, that he could be that third back for you, more kind of that power back for you. Defensively, there was a lot. Jackson Barton, I mentioned him earlier as well. Defensively, there's a lot to like. Okay, first of all, Isaiah McGuire looks ready to wreck. He played 6 snaps, and in those 6 snaps, 2 pressures, a sack, a quarterback hit, made a tackle, had a run stop. I mean, I don't know what more you want from the guy, but he looks ready. Alex Wright, we saw last week. He looks so ready. Up and down, Cam Thomas was in the backfield a bunch. Julian Okwara, 2 sacks in the first game. I know it doesn't show up as a sack in this one, but he hits DTR to the point where the ball goes up in the air and gets picked off by E.J. Henry for a pick 6. Shelby Harris was all over the place in his 9 snaps. All over the place. Aiden Huntington continues to be a beast, and we have 6 defensive ends who should be on 53-man rosters, and we have 6 defensive tackles who should be on 53-man rosters, and that to me is where, if the Browns are going to make a move at the cornerback position or something, that to me is maybe where it happens. Like, you're able to get a cornerback because you are able to trade one of these defensive linemen. The young linebackers of this team, Buki Watson, I thought his pursuit was excellent, was running all over the place. Jerome Baker had an excellent game, not a young linebacker, but played well. Juwan Briggs, young defensive tackle, again, played well. And then Easton Mascarenas-Arnold is fun to watch. He is a heat-seeking missile. I think he's somebody they certainly want to keep in the program. I don't think there's any way that they'll be able to – I don't think he can make the 53, but this guy led USC in tackles last year, led Oregon State in tackles the year before, had 7 in this game to lead the team. I think he's got 11 in the 2 games. He's been great. A guy that continues to make plays as well as Nick Needham, and we might need him. We might need him because when you're going –
young Brock
like that. When you're going – listen, I'm a big fan of Cam Mitchell's. I like the kid a lot, and he has made some good plays for us, but this was kind of a camp in a couple of weeks for him to go out there and, like, seize that job, and it has been anything but.
Yeah.
It has been rough. He has been picked on. And that, to me, it has been a bummer. Miles Harden, I thought, played better this week, but Nick Needham, he's played well both weeks. It was his tip that led to the interception. It was wiped off due to a penalty, but interception last week. So those are the guys that really kind of stood out to me this week.
What did you make of the kicking situation?
Well, dude, we just don't know.
Yeah.
We just don't know. What I would say is,
he crushed it.
Schmidt looked great.
Sirianni tried to ice him.
Kevin wasn't having it. He went 2 for 2 on his field goals. The one at the end of the first half from 49 was right down Broadway. Now, D-Hop made his extra point and his field goal, too. Kind of snuck it inside the right upright on the field goal. But I thought Schmidt looked real good. Siliano obviously knows him very well. He's a guy that, at Syracuse won the Lou Groza Award as the best kicker in college football. I still think it's D-Hops. I think that contractually it almost has to be. But we'll see. Here, let me pull it up because I'm pretty sure D-Hop is owed. And listen, D-Hop was so great a couple of years ago. If he can be that guy again, fantastic. I love Dustin Hopkins, and he's a great dude. So if the Browns were to cut him this year, they're still on the hook for some money, as I would understand it. Yeah, there would be dead money of basically 2.4, like $6 million over the next 3 years.
Yep. All right. Good stuff.
Even more than that. Yeah, I think they'll try to keep Schmidt around, but yeah, D-Hop's going to be the week 1 kicker, I would expect.
All right, second hour of the program coming up next. The Browns being linked to a star defensive end who could be on the move. We'll get you the details on that. But first, we go to the podium. Coach Stefanski from Sunday breaking down the win in Philly. That's coming up in the second hour. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Trucker motorcycle accident caused you injury. Call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. And now here is head coach Kevin Stefanski from the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Coach on Sunday, breaking down the win over Philly.
Coaches are
goes down 12 minutes.
The tape from yesterday, and then we'll bring the players in tomorrow for a lift and a run and really get ready for this week. We'll treat this week as a regular season schedule. We'll give the guys a normal game plan as you would getting ready for the game on Saturday. We'll treat each day like we would. Now we will do more competitive periods than we would say in the regular season. So we'll do plenty of Browns versus Browns in practice, as well as introducing carded periods where we'll be simulating the Rams offense and defense. So big week for the football team. Was pleased with how the guys handled last week, both the practices, the game itself yesterday. And like I told you guys, there's so much to learn from in that game. And that's the part for us as coaches, that we have to point out things that we have to get cleaned up, even if you weren't in there on that rep. And I think that's a big part of learning is seeing and doing, and then correcting mistakes. But pleased with the effort, and then looking forward to this week. With that, I'll take any questions.
Do you have any health update on Kenny and Shador? Do you expect them to increase their level of participation in practice this week?
I hope so. We really have to take those day by day, so I don't know where that ends up towards the end of the week, but I'm hopeful.
Hey, Kevin. How did Dylan's hamstring hold up after playing a half yesterday?
Yeah, good. I don't think he's 100%, but I don't know that anybody's 100% even at this point. So, but I think he came out okay.
And then when you went back and watched that, did you notice anything else about his performance that stood out to you?
No, I think the guys did a nice job of playing on time. I think I mentioned to you guys yesterday the third down conversions early were good. And the good part was versus multiple coverages. So I thought the guys were where they were supposed to be on a given play. Protection was good, and we're able to find completions. But those third down conversions were huge.
Hey, Kevin, we saw D.K. Henry make that interception and return for a touchdown. What have you seen from him this camp?
Well, he's a late arrival for us coming from Philly, so that was pretty cool for him to have that moment in the football game. But really a good scheme fit, plays really hard, great length. And, I've mentioned to you guys before, I think that's a really, really strong group. But those guys just play so hard, and that's really a lot of what our defense is built on.
Just, any player that you would bring in this week, with it being a dress rehearsal week and 3-4 weeks into camp, just how much of a learning curve would that be to kind of get up and running?
I think that's kind of what we do, Joe. It happens during the season, can happen in training camp, where you have to get players up to speed quickly. That happens. Sometimes you get a guy on a Wednesday and they have to play on a Sunday. So that's part of our job as coaches is to get them ready to roll.
Kevin, I know that you've talked about the importance of guys like Cedric Tillman and Jamari Thrash this season, how big they're going to be for that room. Jamari had a really big game. So looking at what he was able to do in that second preseason game, what did you like about it? And how do you see that maybe carrying into the regular season as you look to get the most out of him?
Yeah, I think Jamari is a very dependable player. Gets open, catches the football. The most important parts of the job he does. The quarterbacks have a lot of trust in him. And it was good to see him make those plays and make a couple, extra yards out there. He's done that in the first couple games as well.
Hey, Kevin, I know you said yesterday when you got asked about DeJuan playing that it was an individual decision for every player when you were deciding who to sit, who to play. But specifically, why did you want to see him play some snaps and said play some snaps then yesterday?
Yeah, like you said, Ashley, try to be intentional about the specific players. Said missed a lot of time at the end of last season, so felt like he should get some work out there. DeJuan, obviously, playing left tackle, has not had as much work as playing right tackle, so felt like he should get some work, and we'll continue to get work throughout practice and the games. As you know, you're also getting a ton of work in those joint practices, so all of it is valuable, and all of it is in with the goal in mind of getting those guys ready
Like along those lines, Mason, Carson, Dylan, Harold, like just being rookies, what was the rationale with them? Was it just the work and joint practices?
Well, yeah, those guys played in the first game. So playing in the first game, the practice versus Carolina, the practices in Philly, felt like they got a lot of good work, a lot of plays. We were intentional about how many plays they got in Philly, knowing that would be the plan. But those are all guys that you'll see out there this week.
Okay, and even playing the regulars in this third game is different from last year and previous years that you've done. Why did you decide to play regulars in Game 3?
I believe we played regulars last year in Game 3, Tony.
So your quarterback didn't play
Last year?
Yeah, Watson.
Yeah. What year is this?
I know.
Yeah, I think typically, Tony, have had we've usually had the joint practice week 2. So we've played our guys sometimes a little bit in week 1, and then a good bit in week 3, with week 2 being the joint practices. Obviously, the difference this year would be that joint practice in week 1. And then this year, just feel like that's what this team needs to get ready. Try to every single year make decisions based on what the guys need. So that's what we'll do.
How do you feel like they all did? I know that the competition was interrupted by injuries to the 3 of those guys, but just how do you think it kind of went?
Well, and we've talked about this. We take this all the way back to April with our player development and getting these guys up to speed. And I've been really, really pleased with that group and how hard they've worked, how they've pushed each other. And I think they're all getting better. I think you see all moments in practice. You see moments in games where these guys are getting better. Obviously, like you mentioned, injuries are the worst part of this game. And it keeps a guy out of a practice or a game. That's not ideal, but I go all the way back to April with the work that these guys have put in.
Along those lines, Kevin, obviously with the injuries, you haven't gotten a chance to evaluate all these guys probably as fully as you wanted to. But Andrew did mention earlier in camp that keeping 4 is something you guys will consider. Is that something you think is still on the menu despite how some of these injuries have sort of played out and derailed some of the evaluation?
Yeah, I think we'll let it play out as we get closer to the cut down. Those are all conversations that we are always having, but those are tough decisions. I'd like to keep everybody, but not realistic.
And then Amani Marshall in each of these preseason games, he had the really nice block on the one touchdown pass to Shador. Obviously had the touchdown yesterday. He's really flashed, it seems like, in some of these moments. Just how have you sort of seen him grow throughout this?
Yeah, Amani's done a very, very good job for us. Smart, dependable, runs hard, has some position flex for us. So excited about his development.
Kevin, continuing with the run game, what did you see from Pierre yesterday? And you had that 54-yard gain, but overall, just his growth in the run game, what did you see from him yesterday specifically?
Yeah, obviously good to get Pierre out there coming off of his injury. But I thought the run game, there were good moments for us up front. A couple times we were mis-ID'd and had unblocked guys in the hole. When we blocked it clean, and then you saw Pierre and certainly the other guys put their foot in the ground and were able to make some yards. But that's, the run game really does take all 11. And I think you saw that at times when it was good. We had receivers blocking safeties, getting us in and out of the right plays. So it's just so important that everybody's on the same page in the run game.
Hey, Kevin, I don't think you got asked about it yesterday. Is Dustin Hopkins your guy for week 1, or is that still to be determined?
Yeah, I think week 1 is coming soon enough, but all of our guys are doing a great job. Dustin's doing a great job. Excited for Andre to make those kicks in that game, but we'll save week 1 for week 1.
I mean, was there I'm sure there was a reason. Why did you decide to have Dustin kick early and then go to Andre yesterday?
That was always the plan. Want to give Andre, a good shot at some live game reps.
Two other questions about the kicking operation. First off, was it a snap that was the problem, or a hold on that PAT?
Yeah, the snap wasn't where we needed to be.
And second of all, it seems in both games so far, there have been PATs that look to be no good, but they called them good, so it doesn't matter on the scoreboard. But seeing those on video, are you a little concerned? That looks like 3 PAT misses actually in 2 games.
Yeah, I can only go off whether they call it good or not good, Tony. But I'm very pleased with the work that these guys are getting in both practices.
But would you say that both of the route runners on that levels concept that turned into the pick six, did both of them kind of run the wrong route?
I'm going to protect the identities, Mary Kay, but we did not do what we were supposed to do on that play, and we will get that coached up. That's like I mentioned to you guys yesterday, you really should never have an interception on a play like that. It should be a safe throwaway run, but we have to do a better job of coaching that and executing that.
Yeah, but I know Alex Wright, Julian Aquara, Joe Tryon, Shoyinka, they've made plays on that edge. Isaiah McGuire in that room too. What else do you need to see from that group in these last practices, that final preseason game, as you shape out that starting role opposite of Miles?
Just continue on the path, Cam. I've been really, really pleased with the effort of those guys, really pleased with the development of those guys. Like we talked about, you want to keep everybody. I want to have a 90-man roster, but you can't. So those are tough decisions to make, but that's a really, really competitive group.
Does it feel like a situation that you could go through that rotation like maybe in the past, or are you guys looking more towards having, a solid starter specifically in that position?
Yeah, I think depth is so important in the game in a lot of ways. And I've mentioned to you guys before, the way we play defensively, we do waive our defensive line. So it's really important that those guys that go in with our second group, that there's no drop off and they're fresh. But the guys, like you mentioned, are giving us some very, very good real reps.
All right, there you go. Coach from the podium from Sunday. We'll go around the league coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Motorcycle accident caused your injury? Call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to go around the league. This was reported, it started yesterday, that the Bengals are back open to receiving trade offers for Trey Hendrickson. They have not gotten a deal done. Remember, they opened up the floodgates and said, if you want to acquire him, go ahead and do so, and that was in the offseason. And then he reported, and there was some talk that they were close. Now Diana Rossini reporting today that it doesn't have to be in terms of that it doesn't have to be a defensive end in return, but what the Bengals are looking for is a 2026 1 and a young defensive player. That is the package they're looking for.
What is really crazy to me and is Joe Burrow on some level has to be very sad that he was drafted to that franchise. And the reason for that is not because it's the Cincinnati, not because it's the bank. It's because of the ownership's wealth is because they own an NFL team.
Yes.
And not because they are wealthy and thus were able to purchase an NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Joe Burrow was on the Cleveland Browns, for example, Trey Hendrickson would be signed.
Yeah.
Chase would have been signed. Higgins would have signed. No contract situations. Keep the band together. Let's go win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
If he was on a great number of teams where that is the case, that's how those owners would operate. Now, that's one of the things I love about our ownership group. We have not gotten the Haslam's to do anything and spend whatever to make it happen. We just have not gotten that quarterback, even though we've shot our shot. And hopefully we will get that solved here in the future because once we do, we have the organization that would maximize everything around it. This is a team that hasn't made the playoffs 2 years in a row. Last year was because of their defense, and they're Hammond and Hahn and nickel and diming, the reigning NFL sack leader.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. He also...
If I was Burrow, I would want out of there. I'd be like, you're never going to be able to maximize what I'm able to do because that's just not your business model.
Yeah. I do think that Trey also, he has an inflated view. Like, if he thinks he's a $40 million a year player, like, I know he led the league in sacks, but he's not Miles. He's not TJ. He's not, to me, if he could get to a Max Crosby number.
Oh, see, I think he's
like 38. He's in his 30s.
Okay, he's had 17.5 each of the last 2 years. He's had at least 13.5 in 4 of the last 5 years.
That's good.
He is. I mean, Miles is on another level where he's had 14 straight in 7 straight seasons, I think, or 14. Let me see how many straight seasons. Miles had 14 straight in
14 in how many straight?
1, 2, 3, in 4 straight seasons. So Myles Garrett's had 14 sacks or more in 4 straight seasons. There's only 7 people who've ever done that. The other 6 are all Hall of Famers. So he's not that far off. If you look at the last 3, he's had 14, 8, 17.5, 17.5.
Yeah.
Listen, I think he's a top 5.
Oh,
and
for sure.
If you're getting paid last, and he's probably not asking for a 3. You give him a 2-year deal and you pay him what the elite guys get, and you would feel. I think you would think he has, a couple elite years left. And let's not forget 2021 when they went to the Super Bowl. In that run, he had 3.5 sacks and a forced fumble in their playoff run.
Yeah.
He was very good in their playoff run.
It was interesting. Like, they linked us to him. Us, the Colts, and I can't remember who the other.
I'm going to go
Carolina. Maybe
I'm going to explain the us part of it. I think these are not scores. This is just what I know. We called to find out everything because it's information.
Yeah,
it's information. What do you want for Trey Hendrickson? Okay, that's information.
Yeah,
that we're able to file away and have a better assessment of the overall market because we're ones collecting every single bit of information we can.
Yeah, and I think, that a young – I can't see any scenario where Mike Brown, even if it was more than that, would trade him here. No chance. But the idea of a 1 and a young defensive player, like, we actually have those things. We have 2 1s. We have the young defensive players. So not to say that it's here. I'm with you on that. But I tend to think he's going to be a Bengal. I think this is all just negotiating stuff, and I think until he misses a game – wake me up when that happens. That's how I feel about Micah Parsons, too.
Yep.
I think a lot of this is just posturing.
It seems, though, so one of the things that I read on this one, though, and you were probably more plugged in than perhaps who I read, or maybe that's one of the people you've heard from, is that he feels like it's been 3 years kind of brewing and that it's personal to Trey Hendrickson. That's when things can get to the point where you'd actually be willing to say, screw you.
There's no doubt that there is a element to it, in large part too, because they've had to do Chase and Higgins, and he's like, where's mine? So like they've done these other so yeah, I think that, but I don't know how it couldn't be personal.
Yeah.
That's like the Micah thing in Dallas when the people like it's personal. Yeah, I bet it is to him.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean you're not, this is what I've done. I deserve to be paid at this level. Like, let's go. And then you wait, and now I think for Jerry it's all theater, but it's a little different.
Yeah, that one I'm not worried about.
No. There was a trade over the weekend between the Eagles and Texans. The Eagles received wide receiver John Mechie and a 2026 sixth-round pick. The Texans received former Browns tight end Harrison Bryant and a 2026 fifth. We had primetime football last night, Bills and Bears, in last night's primetime game. Caleb Williams looked very, very good on this one, 6 of 10, 107. They got a ton of weapons. It just, when I watched them play last night, and I just watched as long as Caleb was in, I didn't need to see anything beyond that, but while he was in, it just seemed so, to reiterate how foolish it was to not just pull the plug on the coach when you drafted him.
Yeah.
Just go with the new coordinator right away. Caleb Williams could have had this start to his career with Ben Johnson last year.
Yep.
Like, just do it then. Why wait? They have so many weapons. I mean, they have them. It's the most weapons the Bears have ever had.
Oh, they're
They've
loaded,
never
and
had
it's all
weapons.
set up by. It's all set up by the trade they made with Carolina.
Yes,
and that's why for the Browns, when you go back to it, if you could imagine a scenario in which Shador or Dylan Gabriel, by the end of the season, make you feel like we can go into next year with one of those guys, you could be in a position to make a trade and get a big haul.
What's Dom up to?
Dom, I think he's looking for Coach Bonda. There he is. Where you could be in a position to get a haul where you turn one pick into 3 picks and you make it all happen.
Yeah.
Is he rocking an LSU polo?
Is that what that was? I have a glare, so I couldn't see it as well.
I think so.
Bayou Bengals? All right.
Yeah.
Coach Bonda going to join us in studio. Coming up next, you're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And you've been let's explain to the folks why this is happening. I mean, it's a gorgeous color.
Yeah, go Tigers. I've been catching a lot of stuff all day from primarily guys from the O, but Ohio State. But my son's a quality control linebacker coach out there. So just supporting my son. He's in the thick of camp out there, and talked to him the other day. I don't get to talk to him very much.
Yeah.
Both of us are pretty busy at this time. So
family business, man.
Yeah,
That's the way that
business.
it goes.
We're a family. We're a football family.
You guys, this is 2 weeks on the road. How valuable was that time away? It's challenging for everybody. It's challenging for you guys. You're in hotels and all of that stuff, but also critical work that gets done. What were the last couple of weeks like for you guys? Did you get done what you wanted to?
We did, and they were really good for us. Not actually getting away training camp deal like we've had at Greenbrier last few years. These 2 weeks really provide us that opportunity to get away from the building, grow as a group, spend time with each other, learn about our group, and then also just get to practice against a different color, which I thought was a great time. We needed it. We were tired of seeing the same guys and banging over and over again. So just a change of scenery, change of color on the other side of the football was really good for us, and thought we got a ton out of it.
Especially when you go and get work against the defending Super Bowl champions. I know that you can say it's camp, and they didn't, maybe A.J. Brown wasn't out there, but injuries happen through a regular season. But that's the measuring stick. That was the best team in the NFL, and I thought certainly from a defensive side, it was a darn good 2 days of work, and you guys really shut them down.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, anytime you can measure yourself against the best in the world, you covet those opportunities in this league and in this game. So for us to go up there and get the opportunity to do that in that environment was really good for our confidence, for learning about our players, learning about ourselves. It was just a great opportunity. I thought we took advantage of it. You can go both ways. It can be bad for you too.
Yeah.
So it was just a good opportunity to get into that space and kind of get into that environment with those guys.
Before you were here, this is our third year of joint practices with them. I know we did 23, 25, but then going back, I think it was 22 maybe.
I think that's what I heard, yes.
Yeah, he was here.
Okay. Yeah.
And that year they went to the Super Bowl and they lost to the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
After those couple of days of joint practice, it was like, it would look like, honest to goodness, just from a physical standpoint, it was almost like JV versus varsity. You're like, who are these people? They're giants.
Yeah.
And they just came in here and wrecked us.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And it was telling. But I thought what was so interesting to me about this one was, and I know we've had a more physical camp leading up to it, I thought that we matched their physicality on every level. I really did. I thought we matched their physicality, and we were right there.
And I think that goes back to what Kevin set out for this team in terms of being competitively tough, like every day, competing and being tough. And that was a great opportunity, again, to make the words that are on the back of that T-shirt real. And I thought we did a good job across all, in all different phases and every spot and nook and cranny of this team. It was a chance to make that as tangible as real, and I thought we took advantage of it.
How did you adjust how you went about your business with that coming from Coach? That we're going to be more physical, we're going to do those things. What adjustment was that for you based on previous years?
For me, it was like, cool, awesome, great, because that's exactly what I talk about in the room in general. But it's hard to talk about in the room and then not be able to actually go out there and do it consistently or a lot. And I thought Kevin's done a great job of, again, making the messaging real and putting us in those environments, whether it's practice, going live, and putting in the situations with Carolina and Philly. So for me as a coach, I mean, we talk about that every day. Our job is to prove the toughness of that room to everyone in this building on a consistent basis. So I was excited when I heard all this messaging and then seeing it, come to fruition in the environment that Kevin's provided.
Yeah, Grant had one where they kind of flared one out to a tight end, and he was on it, smacked him right away, and then was like, I'm sorry, it was good, no fracas or anything, but you could see it. Well, I like, the Eagles like to throw the ball over the top. There was nothing over the top. It felt like if our defensive line hadn't sacked them, which, by the way, makes everybody's job easier, and your D-line is doing what they've been doing basically this entire offseason. It was just nice to see them allow us to do it to somebody else. They've done it to our own practices far too often. But, when you look at Grant and Ronnie as your top two, and you brought in veterans, Rayshon Judkins, I know, has had a nice offseason for you. You've had some turnover there. It's going to be a new starting duo for you. But, how's it been working with them, and how have you seen, two guys that you've been with the whole time in Rocket and in Grant, how they've grown?
Yeah, I mean, starting with the two guys that have been in the scheme with us the last 2 years, just really happy with where they are in terms of the big picture understanding of what we're doing. They have control of what we're doing. They know what other people are doing. They're able to solve problems and just work very, very well together. They spend a lot of time playing with each other in terms of the game and the scheme. Done it a lot. So really happy with where those two are. And then, bringing in the new group, because it is a new group. I mean, it's what I told the guys in our very first safety meeting. I put a big question mark up, and that's what we were and what we are and what we'll continue to be until we prove otherwise. And I'm excited where the group is. I'm very pleased with the vets that we've brought in and them buying into what we do and how we do it and their roles, but also providing the vet leadership and things that they can bring to the room to help the room. And they've all stepped up and talked and helped the players that have been here, but also young players. They've been awesome. Excited about the growth of guys like Chris Edmonds, who was undrafted free agent, now getting an opportunity to really see if he can help this team in a bigger role. Donovan McMillan, another undrafted free agent that has come in here and really trying to prove his toughness and show that he should have been a guy like Rocket 2 years ago that should have been drafted. And so really, really excited about it. Even a guy like Nick Needham, another free agent who's playing nickel, quarter, safety, bopping around for me in B. Lynch's room, every other day. So it's been a good camp in that space, and I'm hoping to see that question mark turn into an exclamation mark again in 2025.
Chronologically, how do you view this phase of camp? You're going into your last preseason game, and then it's a couple of weeks, and then we're playing games that count. What is this kind of part of camp like for you?
For us, it's that run up. It's that runway into what a real season week's going to feel like in terms of meetings, in terms of game planning. This is the week to kind of get new guys in our room, which we have a lot, used to how we present things, how we offer information to them about the team that we're going to play, how we'll do game plan stuff. Things will change. So this is that week to kind of get used to that, deal for primarily the new guys. And even for us as coaches, all right, let's get back into this game plan mode. Let's get back into how we break this down and what I got to do on my side to help Jim do his job. So it's kind of that week for us in terms of, leading into this week and obviously the next two.
How important is, in light of that, for you to be like, all right, now we've been trying things, given competition, to be like, okay, I got to slot it, and now we're getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals?
In terms of slotting it, I think there's still a lot to be
determined.
Yeah. But
it's an ongoing process. We don't want anybody to rest on their laurels, Coach. We understand.
No, I get it. But here's the deal. I'll tell you right now. I want to make it tough on everyone in this building to slot it. I want to make it. Our goal is to make it as hard as we can for Andrew Berry and his staff, and for Jim and for Kevin. Because if we do that, then that's a good thing for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And that's our goal. We want to have as many guys that can help this team as possible, not just on defense, but on special teams. So in terms of that, we want to make it tough. We want a good problem to have, if that makes sense.
Everybody talks about takeaways. It has been preached, and sometimes it feels like they come in bunches, and then sometimes last year there weren't as many takeaways. I know you guys have been drilling. I think that one where they can punch the ball out is very cool. It's like in a donut, and they can dive through it. I like watching that one. But I know that you guys talk about it. Wouldn't be anything new to talk about it, make it a point of emphasis. But how can you take that and actually turn it into taking the football away? Because this team, I think you got to be positive in the plus-minus ratio if we're going to be successful.
I think, one, Kevin does a great job explaining that to the guys on a daily basis. Two, as a coach, I'm talking about individually as a coach, you have to hunt and seek the body placement and opportunity/situations that happen in a game and try to recreate them on the practice field as full speed as possible.
Yeah.
And that's where we try to come up with these different drills to try to make these situations happen, because that's hard. It's hard to make something full speed that happens in a game come to fruition in a practice setting. And that's what we're kind of seeking. I think we've done a good job of that, finding different ways with the peanut punches, getting the ball, tip drills, our jug machine. It's just been a point of emphasis for us to get even more creative as a coach to create those environments so the players, when that happens, is not the first time they did it in practice.
Well, we saw a tip. We would have liked that to stay, but we saw a tip interception last week, and Nick got just a pure interception the week before that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's fun. I do think it's wild. I don't know if you watched any of the opposite. So our offense, their defense film. But Jacorian Bennett went for a peanut punch and basically punched the helmet with his elbow, and that's why I thought he may have broken his arm. You know, like that's when he got hurt on our sideline. He was going for it, but he missed, and it went full into the helmet. And I was like, whoa! So it's much more fun punching the donut. I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you got to, and that's the thing. You got to be smart too. You know, how do you like that donut? Shout out to our equipment staff. Like
it's so cool.
Velcro on a ball and inside of our donut, and like it sticks but it'll still pop out. We found so many different ways to adapt. You know, the tools we use to try to create turnovers, and that is something we got to continue to emphasize.
Always evolving, right? You
always
have new ways to teach the same thing, new verb. You got to keep them going.
You have to, and the players love it. Like,
sure,
they love seeing new things and new ways to do it. They get bored too with the same drills.
Yeah.
So it's your job as a coach to look at that play and say, oh, maybe I can make this happen in this way, and they enjoy it because that's them getting takeaways puts money in their pocket too, and it helps this team. So.
What does a safety have to be to play for you?
Oh, violent. I'll just tell you right now. Mm-hmm. Violent. They got to be tough. They got to be physical. They got to tackle well, and they got to solve problems. This position is an ever-moving piece. Mm-hmm. You got to play at the third and second level and the first level. So your violence, your toughness, the edge you play with, your tackling will always be the things for me that I set forth first. And then you got to be a smart, intelligent player that can solve problems and stay ahead. It's a great dance between all different things, playing man and having finesse, and then being violent and fitting a power run scheme, and then getting the ball down like Don had to do in the middle of the field and stick your face, into the fan and violently wrap a leg of a running back running full speed at you. So it's this true dance of true technique, finesse, and violence with the ability to, okay, I got a problem right now. They just motioned, they did all this, and I got to solve it. I like that. So those are the things that are big for me.
I love that answer, by the way.
I do too, and I feel that, and I think that is so important. When we also play as much single high as we do, what does that guy have to do? Because he's the last line of defense in every respect. Obviously, if Grant's down in the box or whatever, he's got to be there. But when you're when you are that dot, when we're single high as much as we are, and we're single high as much as anybody in the National Football League, and for a guy like Rocket, he's taken that over this year. What is that job? What does that guy have to have?
It's great question. Okay, because in this scheme, again, for the years that I've been involved in, 13 now, that happens more to a safety in this scheme than anywhere else. They're not quarters, you're not vicing. It's one-on-one, Rocket, whoever else, in the middle of the field when the ball's in space. It's about, and you see us rep this all the time, GIOTG, get it on the ground. Like, that's the key in that environment. It may not be a kill shot, but your job is to take the air out of it, to know that you've trained in that environment, which we rep a ton. That's when you see me working the donut drills and having them chase, downhill, and getting that ball down to give our defense another opportunity to get back to what we do. Tackle for losses, sacks, takeaways, negative plays, and attack defense is key. And sometimes it's going to get past that first or second level. We have to get the ball on the ground in space. It may not be perfect. It may not be pretty. But so long as we do, we get another chance to attack again.
That's great. That is fantastic. Coach, it's so good seeing you, man.
Yes. Great seeing you guys. Good to be home.
He's got the fresh helmet. He's home. You can tell he's got everything. He's got his products. He's ready to roll.
The wife wanted me to grow the hair out. Yeah. So shout out to my lovely, beautiful.
It's nice to meet her again, right?
By the way,
you guys got back to town.
There you go. Smart. Shout out on the interview. Very smart.
Very smart. Very smart. Coach, good seeing you.
Great seeing you guys.
As always. Right. So much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Enter the Dog Dash Sweepstakes presented by Milkbone for a chance to have your pup compete in the annual dog races. It's going to happen at halftime of the Browns-Dolphins game on October 19th. Grand prize includes 2 season tickets for the 2026 season and Milkbone for a year. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/milkbone to enter. I should also tell you that this season, check the Browns social channels daily. Play our digital scratch-off game for your chance to win club seats and other great prizes. Presented by the Ohio Lottery, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We had a lot going on today. We had Joe Flacco being officially named.
At 1 o'clock.
Right off the bat, baby. Joe Flacco, your starting quarterback of your Cleveland Browns. It was becoming quite obvious as this is where it was heading last week, and now you get it. And I think, honestly, it's kind of the perfect way to start this season with Joe leading the way.
It is, and it goes back to now this is the perfect way to start the season. You've got Joe Flacco for this year, but again, this in no way, shape, or form addresses what is the biggest issue, and that is finding a long-term solution at that position. And so you've got 2 young guys here, 3 if you count Kenny Pickett as well, that are in that mix. And so I think it's going to be very fascinating to see how this plays out. And, if you're Joe Flacco, right, your job is to not let anybody else get an at-bat.
Yep.
And you know how you do that? Win. If we come out of here through 6 games and we're 3-3 or 4-2, my goodness gracious, that is we will. I don't think this is correct. I think we will be underdogs in all 6 of our first 6 games.
Yeah,
so this is his chance. He wanted another shot, like to be day 1 starter. It worked out this way for a variety of reasons, and he took advantage of the opportunities that were made available to him. And now this is his time, and he's such a great guy. You want him to be successful. You want it all for Joe Flacco. Does everything the right way. I saw a clip of him where he had to name the quarterbacks he's beaten in the playoffs, and it's like Brady twice, Peyton Manning, Roethlisberger. Like he's beaten all of them. He couldn't remember the last one, and I was sitting there screaming at my phone because I knew it. It was Houston, and we said the year was so funny when I was a kid. I was watching. I remember checking the fantasy stats, even though it was the playoffs. I must have been like in a playoff fantasy league at the time. I think it was 2011. And I remember being home in California, and I was at Bidwell Park, which was the park near my house where I'd go, and I was playing pickup basketball. But I remember, and I was sitting there screaming, I'm like, it's TJ Yates.
That was it.
It was TJ Yates. That was when he had to call his dad. He did a phone a friend, called his dad, and he got TJ Yates. And I was like, could have just called me, brother. I had the TJ Yates at the ready.
You kind of outlined this a couple weeks ago when we were in camp. Because Jimmy Haslam, ownership here, said, look, we like to see these guys play, the young guys play, and we want to see them play too. And I thought what you said a couple of weeks ago is kind of a good gauge for our fans to kind of look through these things through, prism to look through. Be the starter for as long as you can be the starter. Yep. And as long as you win, keep starting. Like if Joe goes 4-2 in the first 6, he's gonna keep starting. If you go to a rookie at some point, Shedeur or Dillon, and they win, keep starting. It's your job until it's not.
Whoever is the starter at the time, your job is to make sure that nobody else gets a tranche.
Yeah,
that's it. And the way you do that is by winning. That's it. That is the way that you do it.
The other thing we had official today was Isaiah Bond.
2 minutes.
Yep,
in the mix.
And that's like getting it is somewhat unprecedented. It is the first fully guaranteed contract, at least according to his agent, of this time for an undrafted free agent. He's being paid as though he was kind of a late 2nd, early 3rd round pick. And Isaiah Bond has been compared to very good receivers. We mentioned Jalen Waddle. That's Lance Zierlein from NFL.com. That was his comp for him. This is a guy that has a chance to have some real juice and be a significant part of what we do. Now he's got to get up to speed. It's been pretty clear from the statement earlier today that the Browns were very thorough in their due diligence on him, the player, and then, of course, with everything they had to get into with the allegations against him that he has been cleared of. They've done their homework on him. They're excited about getting him in here, and we'll see him. He'll be out of practice tomorrow.
1 minute.
There you go. Yeah. Still, in a little bit, the last big news of the day looks like a little bit of a hang-up with Quinshon Judkins, and so still some work to be done on that contract. So, big Monday here in Berea. The next level is coming up next, folks. We're getting closer now Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily. We're always presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland.